What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Bob Arum. Bob Arum has an exclusive interview where he says Dillian Whyte should fight Oleksandr Usyk to determine challenger for Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua winner. Bob Arum has told Talk Sports that Dillian Whyte should forget about the fight with his man Tyson Fury in 2021 and instead focus on Oleksandr Usyk. Of course, we know the body snatcher is a mandatory challenger for the Gypsy King, but his title shot is under threat, with Fury agreeing financial terms for 2 bouts against Anthony Joshua next year instead. Whyte has today taken legal action, of course we know, over the matter. However, Arum suggests he should follow a different route. When asked if the mandatories would obstruct Fury versus Joshua, Arum told Talk Sports Fight Night, no, the mandatory situations are being worked out by all the organizations. It's unfair to accelerate mandatories or keep them where they are because of the fact these fighters couldn't fight for most of this year. Dillian Whyte can fight for interim title or whatever makes him happy, and after Joshua and Fury have their 2 fights. Of course, we know Usyk is the former undisputed cruiserweight champion, now WBO mandatory for Joshua. And Arum also said it's probably better if Dillian Whyte fights Usyk to get a real contender. I think boxing is going to be totally different after the coronavirus is over. People are working together. People want to make the best fights. They're not going to be tied down with mandatories. And I know if Dillian Whyte presses for a mandatory with Fury, I'm sure Mauricio Sulaiman would make Fury the franchise champion just the way he did Lomachenko and Canelo. He says, then we don't have to worry about nonsense mandatories. I'm not saying Dillian Whyte's not a good fighter. He's a good fighter. But again, these are unique circumstances. In 2018, the WBC introduced their new rule, upgrading certain big-name world champions to franchise champions. Okay? And of course, the designation allows the fighter to have various privileges, including a lack of mandatory challengers, which sucks. So this is the recommendation of Bob Arum, right? Now think about it. This is exactly what Bob Arum would do. You got a guy that fought his way all the way to mandatory only for you to turn around and say, hey, why don't you fight Oleksandr Usyk because he's in the same boat and you guys should fight each other to see who's the best fight or who would be the best so to be the candidate after these guys fight all freaking year. For one, that's stupid because it's like giving someone another step after they've already taken so many. Especially Dillian Whyte, because Dillian Whyte got shitted on by the WBC and VADA and whoever else was involved last year. We know this. But for him, hey, Dillian, you fight Oleksandr Usyk and don't mess up the biggest fight in boxing history. Look, if it's the biggest fight in boxing history, it's going to happen or it should happen in the right way. You can't blame the coronavirus to maneuver to get the things that you want. And that's what Bob Arum's doing. Bob Arum is trying to use the coronavirus and people not fighting as a result of getting certain fights that he only benefits from, not the fighter, or the other fighters. Only he benefits it, okay? And it's not right for mandatories because, if that's the case, let's stop fucking with that. Let's give up all the belts. The only people that have the belts are franchise champions, and since they're franchise champions, they win 3 times in a row, then they lose it. Something, because it's just stupid. Mandatories exist. It's a structure that exists for a reason. Okay, Bob Arum can't change that, or he shouldn't be able to change that. Mauricio Sulaiman, he's supposed to be enforcing that, so it's really his bad at the end of the day. But Bob Arum is for certain that he's confident that he could go to Mauricio Sulaiman and ask for the franchise championship position. And that's what he's doing. He wants his fighter to be like Canelo and Lomachenko, So he doesn't have to worry about them guys fighting their mandatories. So actually, these guys can do what the hell they want to do. They can fight whoever they wanted to fight, and it's corruption all the way through and through. Okay? There's no... that at this point, if you have franchise champions are killing the sport of boxing. They really are. They're killing the sport of boxing. Because then we have certain fights that will never happen, that should happen, blood, sweat, and tears, hard work and dedication. None of that matters anymore if you're just fighting people to be fighting people, and you better hope that you have a name, because if you don't have a name, you won't get seen. You better hope you sell tickets, because if you don't sell tickets, nobody's going to give a shit about you. And nobody gives a shit about you, that means nobody don't want to see you. That means the promoters don't want to put you in a fight with other guys that are already known. Unless you are trash. Unless you were trash. If you were hot garbage, yeah, they're going to throw you in there to make their fighter look good. But if you're somebody that they know, this dude's a threat, we ain't putting him in there. You will never get seen. You will never come up, because the way these guys are trying to make it, it's a coronavirus. So these guys been already waiting long enough. So you're telling me you want these two guys to fight each other because you don't want your fighters fighting these two guys because it's the right thing to do. It's piss poor sad. Okay? I'm trying to make sense out of it, but it makes no sense. Okay? So you're saying that when Oleksandr Usyk beats Chisora, he still has to fight Dillian Whyte, which I don't mind. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see Dillian Whyte fight Oleksandr Usyk based on what Dillian Whyte said he would do to Usyk. Yeah, I remember. He said I would rough him up. He's too small. Rough him up, man. I would just rough him up, beat him up, man. He's little. Right? So I would like to see it, but at the expense, because Bob Arum wants him to. That's Hollywood horseshit. It's horseshit, and it's terrible that these guys got that type of mind. But it just shows you what people try to use as opportunities in certain situations, and that's what Bob Arum's doing. He's trying to use this as an opportunity to skip out on mandatories that he knows damn well. See, look, Wilder got away with it because of whatever, special circumstances. Bob Arum wants the same treatment for Tyson Fury. So Tyson Fury having the WBC, and then having Bob Arum telling you what he's threatening to do really doesn't do the belt any justice. The fighter doesn't do the belt any justice. The fighter's people represent the belt and vice versa, okay? If you are a fighter and you have the WBC belt, you should respect what comes with it, okay? It comes with a job title. You have a thing called mandatories. Then you have a voluntary. If you don't want to fight for them, give the belt up. You're not suitable for a WBC champion. And what difference is if you can't defend your title, okay, and if you can't fight your mandatories, you are not a suitable champion. I don't care what belt it is. If it's IBF, WBO, WBA, WBC. It does not matter. IBO, I don't care. If you don't fight your mandatories, if you're not trying to do what you're supposed to do, when all these guys have put their life on the line and fought all these hard customers, he had to fight Oscar Rivas and took a knockdown, fighting a tough cyborg, ball-headed motherfucker like that. You know what I mean? That nobody has beat, and he was happy, and he was fortunate enough to beat this guy, outpointed this guy. And then you're going to take it away from him because all of a sudden you guys got the WBC and y'all are trying to do the same shit that Deontay Wilder's trying to do. In fact, y'all are trying to do worse because at least Deontay Wilder, at least he didn't want the franchise championship. He didn't want it. He said, you can take that shit. Keep that shit. I'm the WBC. I make the WBC what it is. All Deontay Wilder had to do was defend the title, the mandatory. And he did say, hey, you keep winning, Dillian. That'll happen. Bob Arum doesn't even want Tyson Fury to fight him. Worried about Joshua and everything like that. Look, Joshua is a unified champion. Now, if Joshua did that same shit, people would talk about him from East Coast to West Coast. Okay? About, man, he don't never fight his mandatories. That's all he does. He's fighting Kubrat Pulev now. Bob Arum don't have a problem with that now, does he? You see what I mean? He has no problem with him fighting Pulev because Pulev is one of his fighters. Okay, and that's a money fight. You know, but he doesn't want to give Dillian Whyte the opportunity, and I'm going to tell you why. Because there's a chance Dillian Whyte might get into Tyson Fury's ass, and it's too risky because Dillian Whyte ain't no slouch. There, I said it. Okay? So, for Bob Arum thinking, oh, well, why don't you get this Oleksandr Usyk to fight Dillian Whyte? You know, these dudes have already done what they're supposed to do. Why should they grow an extra step just because you're trying to be corrupt? Right? And blaming it on coronavirus. It ain't coronavirus. You are the virus right now. Anyway, my rant's over. That's my counterpunch on it. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.